fashion line, and yeah, it's excellent. And it's just a lot of foundational things that are needed to really get you started. And we'll go through a lot of that stuff today because I think no matter what, we're talking about positioning and the four C's is really something as an anchor on when you're developing your brand. Doesn't matter what you do, knowing those foundations are so vitally important. And many business owners skip over them because they just want to sell stuff, right? So the topic was the difference between the gaps of marketing and actually building a legacy brand. Many owners or business owners that start up, they're like, oh, well, I have to make money. It's cash flow's a problem. I mean, sell. And then they forget that foundational stuff that is so incredibly vital that allows for that longevity and for the creation of, future deals and future joint ventures. So, yeah, let's certainly chat about that. Hi, guys.
We are Giacomo and Martina. We come from Italy, and yeah, I'm their administrator in Italy. Yeah, CEO. Yeah, and yeah, yeah, yeah. We are here on holiday, sharing with our job, and also in Italy, I'm also a consultant in accountancy and financial, so helping companies to analyze this cost or making financial planning.
Excellent. All right. Excellent. Well, I think we know a lot about you guys here, and this is the one great thing is there's going to be a lot of questions that'll probably come up. I'll do some talking points, but I would prefer if things start to come up for you that you really are in need of, I'd rather go there because we can really target so much more for you guys in this short period of time by really helping you in what you need right away. How are you, darling?
Hello, I'm Manon. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm here on my holidays. I don't live here. My sister lives here. I'm a teacher in marketing and communications, and I also am a travel blogger, and I write branded content, and I'm looking forward to work more on my own and more in Bali because to spend more time with my sister.
Yeah,
Actually.
excellent.
And I saw the sign, and I follow you on Facebook
You do.
for quite some time. So
Go figure. Awesome. Hopefully
yeah,
it's been good content.
yeah, great. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Pleasure to meet you. Howard, have we met before? You really look familiar. I'm like, do I know you? Well, let's introduce you who you are. Maybe we'll know you.
Yeah, so I'm Alison. I live here in Bali. I'm originally from Scotland and I'm a freelance writer and kind of communications specialist. I'm starting off kind of as a freelancer. I was working as a copywriter and for various publications before. But the reason I'm kind of more interested in this talk is my partner, the winemaker, and we're looking to start our own wine brand in the Adelaide Hills. So this is new territory for me. So hopefully I'll learn something new here.
Excellent.
Thanks.
I'll do my best. Do you have any others that would like to participate? I know you're in, you're out. Would you? You just kind of observing. All right. Well, we'll keep it that way. You may come in closer just because we might get more exciting. All right. So before we go, everyone, I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, a little bit. I would love to just show you a very quick film because it kind of sets the platform a bit on, first off, filming. Do we use film at all in our business promotions as of yet? Film, quality film, like testimonial film, storytelling film. Awesome. Number one way to truly build a position brand that's high level. I want to show you this. Hopefully you can hear it. Gents, not sure that they can hear it. Yeah. No worries. Okay. Hey guys, if we do we have sound from the computer? That would be lovely. Thanks for that. And I'm going to actually grab my clicker here. Brian, can you get that black clicker out? And then I'll just use that here. Yeah, okay, so this is my daughter, Hanalei. As I mentioned before, we are the unstoppable family because we did start traveling 10 years ago. And it wasn't because we won the lottery and just decided to travel. It was actually because we invested in some major real estate, lost it all in 2007, and stood at the top of the hill in La Jolla and said, oh my God, now what are we going to do? We have a brand new baby. We've got a major debt on our hands, and we've lost everything. So let's just sell it all and leave with $12,682 to our name with a teeny baby, and let's start traveling the world. And that's what we did, and we've never gone back. So it's been 10 full years. she's a pretty cool little spirit. And what tends to happen when you bring your children on the road with you is that they get exposed to entrepreneurial life. Kids, kids here, little, big, older, older, yeah. So that's why she's been exposed to amazing people because we have gone to events since she's been very, very young, and she's been exposed to it. Okay, do we have sound, gents? Do we have sound? I just hate when this type of thing happens. That's all right. We'll just roll with it. That was the story of our family. Really strong film. I roll a bit differently if you can't tell already. I create what's called the Seal to the Kiss Promise. I can't leave here today unless there are some of the items and things that you want to get answered. If I get boring for you, don't be afraid. Just go, I have a question because I certainly didn't travel 2 hours just to come here to bore you, but I did come here to inspire, to help you move your needle forward. And I cannot do that if I'm just coming with my own agenda, right? So if you get bored, if your butt gets sore, stand up, jump around, because that's kind of what I like to do to get me moving. But I do create what's called the Seal to the Kiss Promise, and I want to make sure that I live up to that today. Okay, so this is the deal. I look at when we're developing our businesses and our brands is like an oak tree, right? Everything at the bottom of the oak tree is where the soil, right? That's really where that's the minerals and meaning in comparison to your business. It's like your values, right? It's the mission statement. It's truly what we stand for and what we believe in. And then as we move up through the trunk of the tree, your brand begins to develop. But so many business owners jump from the value piece, they go right to this is the name, because really we focus on three areas when we're developing a brand. And I'm talking about seven-figure brands, very well-known, highly positioned, highly leveled brands, right? I'm not talking about just, personal, let me hang out brand. I'm talking about something that is recognized. Now, we focus in three areas. So if you're taking notes, great. Otherwise, I think you'll remember it, and I'll make sure that in that group, I provide you with my slides. Is that fair? And we focus on three things: brand image, brand message, and brand strategy. Now, of course, the image is incredible, and I think most people would think, oh my gosh, if I have to have a great logo, it's got to look awesome, and now I have a brand. But in reality, that's really not what it is at all. A logo and an image is great. It's something that identifies, allows your viewers and your followers to identify, but it really comes down to that message that's down deep inside. So and it comes down to looking at, what are the values that we want to be represented as. You're fashion, right? So my daughter's a fashion designer. Let me give you an example. Her brand is eco-friendly. It's life-conscious and earth-conscious materials. We use bamboo. We use things like modal, which uses 50% less water in the cotton. And we give back one uniform to children in India for every clothing piece bought. Now, her brand is gorgeous. It's, HS. It's a pretty little gold brand. But why people are buying has nothing to do with the way it looks. So whenever we're in brand development, especially company development, right, we can fail miserably in our business strategies if we forget this piece. And it's easy to do it. A lot of us will do it. We'll grow. We know what it is. This is our mission statement. And then all of a sudden we're like, we got to get cash flow. Things aren't working, so let me just throw a deal up. But we start to compromise what we believe in. And so I always bring it back to, what is it truly that you want your brand to represent? So what are the values that we hold? Who do we actually want to work with? And what I would suggest that we do all right now, if you have paper or just in your mind, is to write a T, like a T on a piece of paper. And on that T, you want to write with who do I want to work with and who do I not want to work with. And actually take a couple minutes to write this down. Oddly enough, on the left, it's going to say who do I want to work with, who do I not want to work with. Do we need a pen? Yeah, cool. Yeah. Yeah. And I really mean, like, who specifically who should be your ideal and your perfect client? Because understanding that foundation really allows you to make some really specific decisions. Like for you, you might be working with government. Do you work with government agencies, Graham? So you do all personal, right? Much easier. So done. We know you don't want to work with them, right? And when we begin to actually map this out, your brand in your company starts to lay out its foundations, and it just drives you towards not only who you connect with, but more importantly, who starts to connect with you. We've seen some really big company and brand development misses when someone puts their message out that they want to serve the greater good, and all of a sudden now they're so broad in their message that they're attracting the wrong people, and they start taking deals, joint ventures, collaborations, promotions with someone else that is not connected to this foundational piece of your company and, of course, in reality, your brand. I believe that your brand is really everything. And so let's write that down. Who do I want to and who do I not want to? And after you write those down, the ones that you want to, what are the characteristics and the values that they hold? Yeah. I yeah, these are like your target market. Specifically, let's think about who do you want to, on a bigger level, on a bigger scale. So who do you want to align with that can not only promote, let's say, your company model, because we know your target market. You're going to be able to find them. Of course, we hit a bullseye in our target market, but then of course there's rings around that, so you can, right? But I'm talking about really who do you want to and who could you partner with that's aligned with the values that you have. Because when we begin to think that way, what we do. Correct. There could be companies, other similar offers or educators that are in your same realm. More joint venture, collaboration, partnerships, right? And the reason why I share that is because that's how we scale, right? We can scale what we do very quickly if first off we get the foundation right. Image, yes, it's necessary, and I'll go through color and imagery and things such as that if that's necessary for all of you. But when we're looking to scale our business is thinking about who could help us grow it that's aligned with us, but that doesn't take away. Because I've seen businesses start from very, very beginning stages to 7 figures within 6 to 8 months because they aligned with the right partners that were aligned with their values. It had nothing to do with the services. It literally has everything to do with your wine, right? If you guys are for sommeliers, I just was in Margaret River this weekend, and was one winery. It was very impressive. The guy, I walked up to the counter, and he's doing wine tastings. Scruffy, super scruffy looking dude, kind of a belly, dirty looking shirt, super like salty guy, and he was super cool. And we're just pouring wine. I'm like, oh, what a funny guy. And he's talking to me about his wines being pesticide free. And I said, wow, share with me why it makes you so different. And he goes, well, first off, he pretended like he just worked there. He was the winemaker, who's the owner of the whole joint. And he's like, well, we're pesticide free. All of the wineries that you come here are using pesticides. He goes, if you notice, there's these guinea fowls outside, and they're eating the bugs. And he started to tell me all of this, nothing to do with the flavor of his wine, right? I was so impressed, and I had no idea what they stood for. And immediately I became an alliance partner. I bought like 4 bottles of wine from them, and it was because he started from what his values were. So he starts sharing this with me, and come to find out they've just won big awards. And then I asked the woman next door that was working there, oh, that guy's just the maker. He's just the wine maker. He actually created this whole place. His daughter runs it. But what happened is, if you think of the difference of a legacy brand than just a marketer, he could have said, yeah, look at all the awards we won. Try this, try this, try this. Instead, he started here. And how many of you have heard of the book by Simon Sinek, Start With Why? Right? Amazing. Foundational. It changed my whole outlook on how we communicate our message and our business and what we do, and how we immediately only go here with anyone we speak with. So I start here always because everyone wants to talk about logo. They want to talk about, the look and the feel of it. But if we actually get in our soul right now of what it is that we do, who we want to work with, and what are those alliance partners that can contribute, because their value message is so strong that when they speak about what you do, it not only grows your business, but it grows theirs, and now you can scale. Does that make sense? And I know that, some may not think this way. We tend to work on our own as solopreneurs. But when we say, okay, this is who I want to work with and who I could align with, this is the values that I've got. Now you start reaching out to the offense, like I was sharing with Manly. You go in the offense and say, hi, this is my company. This is what we do. These are my values, right? We always start there. And I'm looking for alliance partners that can contribute and not only help us grow, but we can help you grow together. Businesses soar very quickly. And when we look at the partners that you could work potentially with that already have a great following, you get their following, right? Their people now align with you, and then your position and your company's respect goes way up. Is that ringing with you guys? Anything that comes from that might kind of spark your thoughts? You want to share if there's any alliance partners that you may have?
Down Whole Foods. Okay, I wrote down Oprah. But why would Oprah want to partner up with me?
This is a big one, right? First off, Whole Foods. Great one, because Whole Foods can sponsor your event. We have another client right now. I'm getting ready to speak there in Orlando next month. He runs a Sales Hustlers event for car salesmen, right? And so he reached out to another brand that's not competitive that is sponsoring one of his houses for his dealers, and he's sponsoring this $15,000 investment. He's now bringing all of his dealership guys to his event, but this guy's getting all the promotion. So people like Whole Foods, if you come with a media kit, and I'll show you guys one, how to go on the offense with your brand and say, this is who we are, this is what we believe in, these are our values. We're looking for alliance partners like Whole Foods because our clients, customers, eat this way. Here's our media kit. We would like for you to donate or contribute, or would you be willing to? 7 out of 10, you're going to get some type of positive response. And if you do it enough, right, now you're aligning with big names. Oprah, yeah, you never know. I would keep at that one because we're still working on Ellen for my daughter. My daughter wants to be on Ellen. And yeah, there are strategies that I can share with you on how you keep that moving. But again, it always comes down to here. Is anyone else, ideas or pop up that you know? Okay, we'll keep going. My clients hate working with me because I make them talk and not just me, right? Because I can talk the whole time. All right, so we're going to move through this. So I think you're getting the point, though, is aligning with our values, aligning with core alliance partners that are connected to our message, because that's really where the brand starts. None of this actually works unless this works. And then it comes into what is my brand and what is my brand's story? And that's actually why I wanted to share with you that video. And I don't think that, they got us audio. Would you be open to watching the video? Because what would have happened if I would have shared this to you first, you would have been like, oh, I kind of get you, opposed to you like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to get her right now, right? I'm teasing. But it does happen.
A lot can happen in 5 years. But it wasn't always like this.
a vow to never put my child through daycare. I know there's got to be a way.
If you want something bad enough, you have to go after it. Ryan?
I'm Rhonda.
And I'm Hannah.
And we're the Unstoppable Family.
You just can't stop it. Dun, 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 dun. Dad is even funnier than you.
He's a pretty funny cat. Dog. Cat dog.
Who would expect a girl that grew up in Michigan and a guy that grew up in Illinois would meet surfing in San Diego and then be together ever since? Welcome to Puerto de la Cruz from the Canary Islands.
Machu Picchu on 4th of July.
Cusco, Peru.
Rio de Janeiro.
Morocco! And I got my Moroccan beard. Barcelona! Driving through Utah. Florida. Lake Tahoe.
Here we are in the wilderness. This is literally our front yard. Not too shabby of a view.
Looks like where I'm gonna call my home break, at least till the end of the year. Adios, amigos!
Once upon a time, there was a girl named Hannah.
I love you.
Reflections of 39 years on this beautiful planet. Yes, it's my birthday.
And the monkey and
Happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day.
Happy New Year!
I haven't skied since I've been 12.
When you know you have an expiration date on your life, you know, what kind of decisions are you gonna make?
With Swan with his new haircut, he doesn't look like a dirty hippie anymore. And don't forget what independence means. It means freedom. Go out and do something wild and crazy. So from the Unstoppable family,
It's good. Life is good. Go out, be unstoppable, learn Spanish, get a map, and remember your board shorts. From rock bottom financially and emotionally,
to traveling the world and giving our daughter education of a lifetime.
Still, I feel that our journey has just begun. Wait till you see what's next.
Perspective of what we're all about. And when it comes to film, have you ever seen a story film like this whenever you have a speaker coming up or you're getting ready to connect with someone? Film for you, especially being an adventurer, do you? You do, yeah. You have to be, right? And it connects so deeply with, and you don't have to be a speaker to be able to really communicate the storyline. And instead of me coming up and, sharing, okay, this is what I do, you share something like this and you immediately are connected, right? And so I wanted to show you that because I believe it's so powerful to, when you're in development, brand development, is actually having a film that can tell that story and without you having to say it, right? Because we know consumer generated content is what everyone's looking for. Okay, so let's get a bit more into kind of the content, and then we'll bounce, back and forth a bit. On the way the brand sits, we look at, does our brand sit on the left side or the right side? And this is what we work with when we're building on logo design, color design. Where do you actually sit on the spectrum, right? On the full left side, very high level, edgy, cutting edge. And then, of course, on the right side is fully corporate, very structured. Fonts are different. The looks are different than the way you communicate. Even the way you communicate's different. Being a corporate executive, I used to present in front of very large, corporate companies. Very different talk than I do today because I live on the left side of my brand. So things do tend to shift. So knowing what your voice is and that personality that you want to communicate with your audience is vital. So just looking at where you may sit on the spectrum is really important. Okay, so I've created a process called the Sexy Brand Building Formula, right? This is my own little methodology. But in reality, it just comes down to creating not only the brand soul of what you represent, but then walking them through the magic moments throughout the development of their connection to you and your company. So first off, and you notice I started with my promise, having a promise of what you stand for. You'd be amazed at, how different you feel about someone when they actually give you what part of what their values are, we were sharing earlier, and what their promise is to you. One of my favorite brands and companies is Tom's Shoes. Do you guys know Tom's? Super value, right? Like super value-based company. Blake Mikowski's in the front, right? It's all about what he believes in. The shoes are actually kind of crappy. They're not that great done. They don't look that sexy, but I buy them because I love everything about Blake Mikowski and what he stands for, and their promise, right? Their promise of what they do. So when we're thinking about how we want to present ourselves and the values that we've got, walking them through what is that promise? What is the promise they know they're going to get from you no matter what? Now, I know that we're going to talk about sexy brands and profit machines, because that's what I do. I create sexy brands and turn them into profit-making machines. That's my promise to all my clients, right? So if you have a positioning statement like that, number one, that's what your clients are looking for. It's a complete night and day shift when you communicate that directly than when you're hoping that they can figure it out. And we'll talk about the Grunt test in a minute, because the Grunt test is the number one way to make sure what you're doing is going to be perceived by your clients. And it's really important. Second, of course, like we just said, is brand story. Innovation, always innovating. Now, right now, the world is going very social, right? And many companies are still not on social media, which I think is really hilarious. But more importantly, automation. Now, when I say automation, does that connect to any of you that are even, on the ground? Do you utilize automation in your communication in your business? Sales funnels, right? Being able to communicate with them via email. We are so big on sales funnels and having a sales funneled process, and your clients and your customers will notice. A lot of old school guys. Dan Kennedy, you guys know who Dan Kennedy is? You might know Manly's big speaker, Dan Kennedy, right? Super old school. He was still faxing his applications, right, for his clients that he'd work with. He stayed so old school. We're like, dude, you're missing out on a lot of clients, a lot that's going on, because your clients and customers want to innovate as well. So moving them through that innovation process so they see the trends, they see what you're doing. Social media, I mean, right now, man, if we're not using stories on Instagram, Facebook, and sharing our message through Facebook, then your brand is sinking and you're only doing word of mouth, which can now then start to shrink up. The purchase moment, how they feel when they connect with you, right? How they feel when they decide to join you in your workshop. What is your follow-up? Right? Do you have a follow-up process that makes them feel super warm and fuzzy and connected? Emails. Could you potentially add in a personal contact call? Because you're probably high ticket, right? I would assume. Under 5, above 5, 3 to 5, under 5, 3 to 5. Call them. Get someone just to do a quick reach out. And I say that not because it's an added step. What it does psychologically, right? It connects them directly to you. I showed you that story because you have no idea who I am. The only person that's been following me, I think, was the young lady who's here, and she had to go. You don't know me, but connecting that way instantly creates customers for life. One small little call into that sales process, how that purchase moment with them is connecting. I wouldn't do it from you, right? I don't do it, but my assistant, she just says, hey, welcome, great to have you, I'm glad you're on our team. We also have Facebook groups that everyone loves community. Doesn't matter what you're doing, Facebook groups, an absolute. They love community. And then just bringing them through that purchase moment, that connected piece in that connected moment. And then, of course, it's the experience that you create. Do you go through a sales funnel process? They buy sales funnel automation. Hey, congrats, welcome, call. Welcome, this is what it starts. This is what your connection is. This is our onboarding process. enter them into a Facebook group, and then they feel like they're, part of a great community of people, right? That's a really big process in your model, especially. Yeah, anyone else utilize that type of system? Calling, Facebook groups, clientele. Calling is one of the biggest points in creating a purchase moment and an experience when you're in brand development. We're not going to go through any of these basic, blah, blah, blahs. But again, some of the biggest names in the industry, business has changed. Okay, I'm sure you guys all know who Tim Ferriss is. Tim Ferriss, we know him very well. We're one of his biggest testimonials. We met Tim Ferriss a couple of years after we were traveling, and he's like, "Oh, hey, you're Rhonda, Unstoppable Mama." I'm like, "Oh, Tim Ferriss knows me," because we were very big on making sure Tim Ferriss knew us on Facebook and sharing the message. But I'm sharing you about Tim Ferriss not because of us, but because of what Tim Ferriss did with his personal brand that took his business. Probably figure out maybe what Tim Ferriss is worth. Could you make any guesses? What Tim Ferriss might be worth? Probably not, right? Maybe? Got a gander? Well, back then in 2007, Tim Ferriss said, "Assuming you can find me," hard to do because he's so cocky, "and depending on when you ask me, I'd prefer you didn't, I could be racing motorcycles in Europe, scuba diving, private islands in Panama," that's where we met him, actually in Panama when we lived there, "resting under a palm tree, kickboxing, Thailand, or Buenos Aires. The beauty is I'm not particularly a multimillionaire, nor do I particularly care to be." Today, Tim Ferriss is worth $388 million. Today. That was just 11 years ago. So what did Tim Ferriss do? Tim Ferriss became his biggest advocate and personal brand. So instead of just being a company, hopefully, you are in front. Many companies, businesses, they fall behind the logo, the name of what they do, because the values we were talking about earlier, the message and the value, that's where the connection comes from, right? So Tim Ferriss, when he wrote the 4-Hour Workweek, he was just like, "Yep, I'm this guy, wrote this book." He was going and introducing himself and meeting people, right? But it had nothing to do with the Tim Ferriss brand. He started to get on the forefront. He went very offensive. And especially for you, Graham, with your company, I'm sure you're probably the highlight in what you do. Would you say that are you the driving force in them? You try. You don't. You're the undergrounds guy. Of course. If it's just, absolutely. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Well, and it's not about, though, it being you driven. It's about being the story driven. Like Joseph Campbell wrote the hero's journey, right? In the hero's journey, it's about you being the hero, right? It's not about you being the hero. It's about you being the guide. You allow the clients and what you are the hero, but you are the one that guides and saves the day. And this is what Tim Ferriss did. He actually started to get very connected to angel investing, right? He started him personally being the lifter and utilizing that story to the values that he had. He forgot about the values. He just started being really cocky, like super cocky Tim Ferriss here. And when he took that shift and started to come into the forefront, and this is what I believe, he started to, share more of the projects and the people that he wanted his brand to be connected to. What happened? Now he went to 4-Hour Workweek, then he went to 4-Hour Chef, he went to 4-Hour, what was the other one that he's done? 4-Hour Body. That was very controversial, right? But he's did incredibly well. But it had nothing to do with Tim Ferriss. It had everything to do with the values that Tim held. And this is when his brand absolutely exploded. So I'm sure all of us know who Gary Vee is as well, right? Gary Vee does the same thing. And The Rock. These guys don't need to do it, but they're so in front with their message and their values. It has nothing to do with the logo or the look. It everything to do with what they believe in, and their personality of their brand is coming through. And this is when their companies all just absolutely explodes. And these, of course, we don't have to be celebrities to allow this to happen, right? We can, truly be who we are to let this completely happen. So I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to actually want to temperature check all of you, because like I mentioned, we could put a plaster of content on this topic, and it's boring. If it would come to a question that you may have to help you move forward, what specifically are you looking for to help you in that brand development side? Okay.
Yeah, it is. So I'm saying that I've got two brands. One is actually, is it on or not? Can you hear? I'll pretend it makes me. I've got to speak here. That's fair enough. There. Thanks, mate. Cheers. So I've got two brands. One actually is me, because it has to be, if you like, because it is about manly talks, and it's about my experiences and what I've learnt and how I apply that in the context of leadership and team development and personal development. And that one, I must confess, I have not used social media at all to develop that. That has purely been through personal contacts, creating relationships, word of mouth. I do get out there and talk to people. I don't ever do blind emails or blind phone calls. It's a relationship concept, absolutely, very personal. But by definition, there's a limit in scale, because there's only me. And even though it's great and it's international and marvelous, and whatever, I want to make a big difference, and this is what the compassionate leadership is all about. And the Dalai Lama describes empathy is to know people, but compassion is to work with that knowledge with positive intent. And so what I want to try and do is create this whole movement and change the whole ethos of leadership in the corporate world to become more compassionate, because I believe we need it. And so that's the online manly, if you like, done in a very different way. I've got some brilliant experts helping me, but what I'm just in the process of starting, hence the timing isn't bad here, is I've got no real experience in marketing using social media at all. And I recognize that one needs to not be reliant on me. It's got to be outside of me. So that's the difference in the two bits I've got, if you like. Yeah, I just don't understand it. Yeah, I've got the message. I've got the whole stuff under the ground of the oak tree, got loads of that, and that's what I firmly believe in. But what I haven't got is experience using social media to get it out there.
Anyone else with experience in that saying, because we're all, I'm 45, I'm not 30 where I am, but I grew up in it, I'm still not at the level of, our HCR guys are like wizards, right, when it comes to how to syndicate, right, how to get our content out to the right people. That's a really big one, right? So you can have the image, you can have the message, but then the strategy is where we get stuck. Is anyone else in that same place? So I can address some really great strategy. Now, probably not necessary to you, because you have a team that could run this for you, because you shouldn't be that necessarily that guy. But there are some things that you can do, right? Just like Gary Vee, The Rock, and are utilizing Facebook Live. Anyone using Facebook Live? Such a big player in the space. Facebook Live is, right, well, there's 7.6 billion people in the world, right? 1.4 billion are on Facebook every single day. Facebook loves video. The world loves video. It's transparent, right? Facebook Live allows you to be the real you, manly, to share that message in such a open, transparent way. And now this is when it attracts those other antelopes, if you will, which are those alliance partners. And my daughter does Facebook Live every day. She's got her own channel. This is what's grown her brand. She's just got a cover interview with the Yak magazine, Entrepreneur magazine, not because her brand looks pretty. Yes, she's got a great message. It's because of the amount of content that she's delivering. She doesn't do the social media. She just talks about the message. This is where big speakers especially you should be focusing on what you do the best. That's your gig, right? That's what you should do. You could do your best by sharing that conscious leadership message using a Facebook Live. Do you know how to use them? Because I can show you a little bit. I can show you how to use it. You'll probably fall in love with it, because if you're a speaker and you can actually like talk to your audience and get instant gratification feedback loops, right? Very big, because you are now sharing that message with more people. So Facebook is a big one. Instagram, we use Instagram like it's instant gratification, right? It's quick. But Facebook Live, that's where your reality shows are. That's where you're really connecting with people. YouTube is like your we'd call it like our sitcom, or where you can go back and watch, actual shows, if you will. Okay, anyone else? I'd like to go through where some and I'll pop some content up that will aid us in where we are.
What if you download your Facebook Live videos and then you upload them on Facebook for reference? I mean, on YouTube, sorry, on YouTube.
Okay, I will give you a really powerful syndication step, and you might want to write it down, because I call it what's called the wheel. It allows you to take one bit of content, one piece of content. I use video because, of course, the same reasons I just explained. And what you do is you either do a live or you do a recorded video. Absolute must. You must have annotations on your videos. Facebook will captions or annotations. Facebook will add them for you right now if you have a business page. Okay? So you shoot a video and you upload it to your business page. They will put the captions on for you, or you can use something called rev.com, rev.com. Rev.com is $1 a minute, and it will create captions for all of your videos for $1 a minute. You will increase your visibility, your viewers, your reach, and your conversion by over 45% just by adding captions. Why? How many? It's more than that now, but the statistics still say about 45 to 60%, because it's the middle of the night, we're on our phones, and we're not listening to anything. I'm laying in the morning, 5 in the morning. I wake up at 3:35 in the morning, and I'm just looking at stuff. But if I can watch a video and I can read what they're saying, because it's kind of boring if you think about speakers, right? Mainly, we all love our face, because I'm a speaker too. But darn it, it's kind of boring if they're just watching my face. This is why I'm so animated, because I want to keep everyone entertained, right? But what if you had you speaking, and now they're watching you, and they're just reading your captions? Ads, bonus, video, right? Must have annotations, okay? So we take the first hub is video, and YouTube, of course, should be then your next step. Now, you can't take Facebook's annotations or captions. You have to use Rev. YouTube will add them on for you, but they're kind of funky. You have to edit them, because I've said some really weird things before. Like, it'll make them for you, and you're like, I just said that? Okay, I better edit that. So, no, Rev.com, great question. Rev.com is all languages. So if you learn anything today or take away, it's using that resource and making sure every video that you ever post has captions. Live video, as long as it's on your business page, you can add them. Correct, later, right? I like to go live first, and then I add them later. Yeah, exactly. So number one syndication is shoot a video either live or upload it directly to Facebook. Get a caption on there. Download it. Add it to Rev. Rev puts the captions on. Then you send it over to YouTube. Instagram is a very powerful resource right now, because everyone is, they want this instant gratification, especially being in Bali. And we can leverage it in a strong way. So the difference is they've changed the format of the way Instagram looks. But they just created what's called Instagram TV. You guys seen it yet? I don't know how it's going to go still yet, because they're taking away the major platform, which is what we all like to watch, which is 16.9, landscape, horizontal, amazing widescreen film, and asked us to shorten it all up. The big YouTubers are not buying into it quite yet either, because it's just a complete format change. And who wants to watch it like this on YouTube? No one wants to watch a profile. So you utilizing Instagram for instant gratification, like images, storytelling images of you with your clients, right? Storytelling images of you and your clients, and very high quality imagery. The biggest failure right now in all of social media and brand development is they don't have high quality images. Absolute must. iPhones are great. They've got what's called the profile feature. So they make your images look incredible. Have you guys seen it? You know the profile? It's probably one of the greatest, investments or inventions that the iPhones could have made, because they change the way your images look. I'll give you guys an example in a minute. Oh, portrait, sorry. It changes. So I'm going to take a picture of you. All right, there you go. Now, I'll take a regular picture too, and then I'm going to show you because it's remarkable. People are building 7-figure brands right now on Instagram using this portrait and using an iPhone. Now, if you're in development, like someone like you, I'm sure you've done photo shoots, right? You have to have them. Okay, here we go. Nice to see ya. Super handsome. Now watch the difference that this did. All right, you're using an iPhone. Okay, now one more time. I just got to get the right lighting. There we go. Okay, this is just from an iPhone. This can completely transform the way people look at your business. Look at that picture.
Yeah.
Look at that one. See the difference in just the quality and the highlight? Right? Totally different. You guys can sort through my phone back and forth. It's simple, but impactful, right? High resolution imagery in your websites, Instagram, an absolute must. Just don't even do Instagram if you're not going to do it. You just don't compete, because you're fishing in a red sea and not a blue sea. And if we're talking about high position brand quality, you've got to be at the high level position, which means invest in a DSLR camera or using a high level iPhone, and never post anything that you're like this, you look dark because the lighting's behind you. Instant, people walk away from you. Especially on social. Your website, obviously, there's a big Grunt test on your website, and I'll do the Grunt test with you guys because I think it's going to be something that will add a lot of value to all of you. I talk a lot about personal branding because, of course, it's now become our resume, right? Even, employers are talking about looking at people's social profiles before they even hire them. You have to be utilizing it, or we're missing the boat in a very big way. I work with a lot of CEOs and executives as well, and they utilize social as one of their biggest platforms. Okay, so let's, I'm going to bring you guys down here, and I want to show you and talk about, is anyone interested in color when it comes to logos? Because I can touch on the color of logos. It's kind of, there's a psychological decision-making process immediately when your color of your logo and the look of even a button that they click. Orange makes a big difference. Yeah. Yeah, you are. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Portrait. You guys. Yeah. Yeah. Is it? Okay. There you go. Portrait. Did you see the difference? I'll move it around for all of you. Unbelievable difference. And pardon me? No, it's on the iPhone. Now, if you have a Samsungs are actually, I think, a little bit better than iPhones. That's why they came out with Portrait in the iPhone, because Samsungs take incredible photos. They're almost like a DSLR. But you can totally see the difference. And this was just using the regular contour light. There's like 6 settings. Do you have it on yours? It has to be an 8 or above is why. So you have an 8. So then you have it. It's called Portrait. You can change to, you can get contour lighting, stage lighting, remarkable difference. Like, so if you don't want to invest a ton on imagery, make sure that you're using at least this portrait mode. If anyone wants to see it, I can show you the difference of it. But it just makes a huge difference. I'll go through color. I'll go through color after, because some of you may be interested and others may not. Because logos are super fun, because there's always a really funny one in the bunch where you can do a really big logo miss. So just make sure that who's ever working on your logos, that they're very aware of what the logo looks like. Now that's really interesting, but that's not the satellite that I probably would like to to have for my Wi-Fi. And if you're part of the Institutional Oriental Studies, you might want to be totally aware what that looks like. Logos are a lot of fun. I'm from Michigan. I'm a Midwesterner, and this has probably been around since I've been born, which is, let's go get some maple syrup, Mom. I mean, it's really funny. This is my daughter, Hanale. This is her brand. So I'll go here. And the reason behind it is that very high-profiled imagery. Speakers, must. Hero section, a must. For you, Graham, especially if you have a website that is for giving back, probably should have an image of what you do, that touchy-feeling image. But the hero on a website is the most important ever, right? The hero section, because that's instantly, it's called above the hero section is your home page, right? It's above the fold, meaning where your computer hits or where the screen usually folds. And it's everything focused on what is the main objective of the brand. My daughter's a personal brand. It's fashion. Exactly who you are, what you do, above the fold. And again, high-profiled image matters drastically. There I am. I don't look like that today because we're in sweaty Bali, but sometimes I can look like that. And that's my hero section of my website. Now, the point of what the Grunt test is, and this is where we'll start going into the 4 C's of congruence of a brand, and then into the Grunt test, is if you noticed, our hero section, very clean, high-level image. Now you saw my website, right? You saw the background, the look, the color. Is it looking congruent from page to page? You're starting to see here's mine. It's, right? Color and font. You need a style guide. And your style guide, whoever you work with, whatever type of designer, have a style guide. It's your font, it's your typeface, it's your colors, it's your hex codes, your actual codes of your brand. We try to create them on our own, and it really looks very poor. This was a client that we worked with, Om Moves. She's a very high-profiled yoga teacher. She owns a big company and created a very killer formula called the Individual Perfection Formula. Difference. We took her personality and put it into her logo. Very bit what I call vanilla on the left, very chocolate, right, on the right. It means it's fluid, it's movement. We speak to your soul when we create the look of it. Here's another. This is the style guide. Okay, if you're working with a designer, make sure that they provide this to you, so that anyone you ever work with, they can duplicate this look. All right, this is more about Penny. This is the update we did for her book. Your book matters quite a bit, the way it looks, the way it feels, the congruency of it. This is the inside of her ebook. If you're doing tripwires or giveaways, right, we call them lead magnets, have a very well thought out, well designed, even an ebook. We can charge more when everything that we do is congruent and high profile. So we're talking about image. The look is congruent all the way through the sales process. And when someone sees that you took a lot of extra time to actually design an ebook to look that sexy, that connects to your brand, instant know, like, and trust. Consumers for life, customers for life, I like to call them. And it matters drastically when in brand development. And this is a bit more of Penny's look of her website. But I'm going to go into actually, this is a good one that you can see, and you might like this one too, Manly. This is a woman from New Zealand, very high-level leadership coach. She's the Michael Hyatt of New Zealand, I guess you could say, if you know Michael Hyatt. And we did a bit of a brand adjustment before and after to her brand, and literally just even the words, igniting the art of leadership with her tagline, opposed to just the art of leadership. It shows action, right? It tells them more of what she can do. And of course, the bird is flying forward. This was her website before. Above the fold, looks okay, a lot of awards. But now we made an adjustment to the look of her website above the fold. The look and the design, the high profile imagery just changes the way you feel about even connecting with Susie from the start. And these are, again, photo shoots. It's the communication, the way the message is laid out, and how she shares her message. This is, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is a very big leadership deal. This is a contract that we just closed with her. 6 different clients at a $500,000 contract, but she couldn't get them before. All we did is rebrand her message and her look, and now we've just started to close $500,000 contracts with her and her leadership company. And it was just because they told her they just didn't think that she was high quality enough, because the look wasn't quality enough. So we're talking about how we position ourselves. Even though your wine labels, there are some very simple wines and they want to keep that way, but wow, you could, sexify the look of what you are just by making the label look a bit more connected and have a lot clearer vision. There's so much fun when it comes to the look and feel of it, because then the message starts to connect if the look is high level. Okay, this is the most important part of what we're talking about here today, and it's the grunt test. Silly as it might be, but your consumer, your customer, your client on a website, in a Facebook Live, in a video, whatever you do, must pass the grunt test, meaning a caveman gets to your website or listens to you and knows exactly what you do. Like, I know what you do. Because all your clients or customers are looking for is, what do you actually do, and how are you going to make my life better? It's part of our pitch. So we're going on the offense. Nice to meet you. This is who I am. This is what I do. I will deliver this to you. Media kit, super clean, very clear all the way through the sales process. We will get more deals and more clients, more jobs, more buyers when everything is congruent. The grunt test is missed by 80% of people online, because they get so flowery with all their words and their languaging, their tagline, instead of being, nice to meet you, I'm Rhonda Swan. I create sexy brands and turn them into profit-making machines. That's what I do. Very grunt testable, right? And we get flowery with our taglines and our message because we want people to kind of feel that we're smart. If we're forcing our clients to use too much mental bandwidth to figure out what we do, we've lost them. They're burning too many calories with their brain, right? So we've got to be very clear on what we do with our message, and it's what I do and how I do it. And all they care about is, how do I actually buy or work with you? That's all they care about. So if it's in a pitch, if it's on a website, clearing a lot of clutter. Websites get so full of garbage that all they care about is, this is who I am, beautiful hero section. This is what we do. This is who we serve. And this is how you can work with us. That's all they care about. The rest is extra fluff that usually hurts you more than helps you. So being very, very clear, because that's all they want to know. That's all they care. Because if they get from the top and you start to establish who you are in their mind, because you're very grunt testable, you can move them through your brand curve all the way through creating a customer for life, but it's because it's a very clear pathway. You following me here? Did I open up any popcorn or questions? Because a lot of times you talk about this stuff, everyone's like, you start thinking about your website, you start thinking about my message, like, oh my gosh, we have to cut this piece off because it's too much. That's what usually happens. And it's a lot of fun when we go through this mental process and we start questioning what we do, because it just makes us so good. I was a professional athlete. I played for the women's U.S. softball team, bodybuilder, you name it. It was all about peak performance, right? How could we get more out of just one extra little, right, nugget? And that's really what we need to look at when we're building our brand and our business. Because, Michael Phelps, it was like it's a tenth of a second of being the winner, right? The second place guys, it's 0.1 of a second. But that's the difference between creating a visual effect, the message that's clear, and the offer that is absolutely irresistible, because the look is so shiny. You look professional, your message is high positioned, and then what happens? You get to ask for more money. I mean, we all want to serve, we want to give, and I know yours is a little different because you're in more of a charity side of it. But when it comes to business, we value who we are in our time. And in order to ask for a higher dollar, to go from 3 to probably 10K, you could ask for that just by changing your positioning and the look I haven't looked at your stuff. I'm not saying that you, but it happens every day. We do this with our clients. Susie couldn't close the big clients, and now we've got 6 $500,000 clients that we're closing just because we rebranded her. All right. Anyone have any popcorn questions that are coming up or that you'd like me to help or address that could be needed? No? You guys are good? Yay, nay? All right. So, all right. I'm going to go through the 4 C's. That was part of my promise on the ad for you to be here. And these are very important, okay? So if we're going to cover image, message, and strategy, the 4 C's are, you could do all of this on your own as long as you have a style guide and a great designer, and you just get these right, your brand will soar. Everything that we create for our clients is based on the 4C model. Number 1, of course, is clarity, right? Clarity, strong brand message. And having a strong brand message really does take time. Copywriters, there's reasons why we are called wordsmiths. It's because we know so articulately what we do. As a speaker, I'm sure Manly would attest to this, is that when you become a storyteller, you're able to really connect. Same thing has to go for your sales copy. The words do matter, but being very clear and being able to grunt test it, even as far as, what does your designs represent? Like the look of how do you want someone to feel, right? That is so vitally important. And if you're not standing for something, then you're standing for nothing, right? Okay, consistency. Now, I've been sharing this with you throughout, is the look, the feel, and the language. We started off with the personality, the spectrum of our brand. The personality has to be the same throughout all of your sales process. That means the look of it, the way you communicate, the way they answer the phone, the way you introduce them, especially the email languaging, when they arrive to your events or they're working with you, the consistency and the value has to come through every touch point that they experience with you. Oddly enough, it takes 9 to 17 touches before someone actually makes a decision to buy from you. So this is statistics for online marketing, especially. 9 to 17 touches, and it's funny because I typed in touch. I'm just going to blame it on them. And it does. So this is why we have a strategy of very consistent blanket on social media, meaning the video first, and then we market those videos. There's a big brand strategy behind Facebook Live, marketing those Facebook Lives to audiences, getting the views, putting it up on YouTube, sending them to YouTube, one little clip on Instagram, and swinging them around. Like that's the whole social process of how to blanket. But it's only one piece of content. So if you have a team or someone that could work for you, it's one piece of content with the captions on, get it on Facebook, send it to YouTube with captions, get it into Instagram with a visual image, and then invite them over to YouTube or invite them over really to Facebook because Facebook owns Instagram. But that's how you keep the loop. But they need to see it that many times. So if we are marketing to, let's say, fill workshops or fill one day or online, you got to know they've got to see this stuff. And if it's not congruent and the visuals aren't the same, the look, the text, the feel, like the way they feel when they see it, they're going to leave. And all the heavy lifting that you did in the front end, you're going to lose them. So we increase and drive conversions massively when we just create a very congruent path all the way through the sales process. People just stay around. But you don't know that you're losing them. That's the hard part. We don't know we're losing them until we realize how big our business grows when everything's congruent, right? Which is next. Congruency, where all assets, of course, and platforms, again, are matching and very connected. Credibility, right? Everything we say and everything we do is described in how they perceive us. And our brand's credibility is built on the trust. I think this goes without saying, being a heart-centered business owner matters the most. And those connections where adding that quick call in that says, hey, welcome, big deal, adds instant credibility to you. Being around other high-profile joint venture partners that we talked about earlier, that you are being able to share the space with your company or your brand matters drastically. For instance, my daughter, reference her quite a bit because of what she's doing. I just said, write down 5 different brands that you would like to work with. Just 5 different brands. She wrote down the 5 top designers and brands that she would like to connect to. And we sent them a message on Instagram. Again, the offense. Hi, my name's Swan. I'm a fashion designer. I'm 11 years old. I really love what you do. Are you open to a collaboration? I've got 46,000 followers on Instagram. I would love to come to your establishment, share on social media, talk about your brand, meet you. Would you like to collaborate? My daughter gets, $500 a day. We go to all these different brands here they give us free stuff. She gets to utilize their services, but she, in return, shares their stuff on Instagram and stories, right? That right there, that is currency. Okay, that's leverage and currency. That's going on the offense, knowing what you are, creating credibility, right? And social currency, having your customers, let's say, talk about you is probably one of the biggest referrals, the biggest bit of currency you can even have. And even reaching out to, let's say, there might be speakers or other companies that are aligned with you, saying, look, let's collaborate. This is what I'm doing. Maybe they use social better than you. Let's do this together. You instantly grab their audience, grow credibility. You help them because I would assume that you're probably a very strong speaker and confidence in what you do. And the adventure piece is probably something they need. Get with the boring guys because they really need it. It's true, right? There's so many speakers that are so boring, right? So just think that way. It will grow your business and your visibility drastically because it takes all the pressure off of you too and what you do. Fashion designers. I mean, my daughter, she wrote them down. She reaches out to, there's a guy called The Franklin here in Bali, very famous here, big fashion designer. We reach out to Franklin, says that, hey Franklin, love what you do. I'd love to collaborate with you, show you some stuff. Boom, now she's gonna do a collection line with Franklin. He needs the followers. He doesn't have the followers my daughter does, but she needs his expertise. She's 11, right? So it's thinking that way. So many people wanna help, but it also helps you because you're articulate and you understand what you're doing is you're growing them and growing you, right? And it's going on the offense. Credibility matters so much when you start reaching out to those type of brands. And now on a media kit, and I'll show you a media kit, you can say, I've worked with this guy, I've worked with them, right? My daughter's getting interviewed by the Yak. Now she gets to say, I was interviewed by the Yak, Entrepreneur Magazine. I work with Franklin, I work with them. And that's just because she went on the offense to help develop and build her brand. Of course I'm helping because I'm her mom, right? But that's how we do it. Right, and then of course we talked about this earlier, which is building that why with a clear, concise message. Now I won't go too more deeply into this, other than leaving us here because Maslow's hierarchy of needs is what all our clients or customers. That's all they need. That's all they have. It's up to us now to create a bigger need, and that is solving that biggest problem they've got. And how we do that is a very clear message. That's it, and giving them what they want through the experience they have with our brand. Does that make sense? Making them feel that we are solving all the problems that they have because we not only are connected to what their needs are, but we make them feel like they're at home. And that's where the storytelling comes in. That's where the look, the feel, and they're already making judgments and decisions to work with us before they even speak with us, right? Okay, so I'm gonna look at the time here, and I would rather do more interaction with you guys than this. Is this good? Yeah? I have a few other things that I could show you if you're interested in logo and color. Sometimes it gets a little lost, but I'd rather do a bit of a brainstorm on some of the things that we talked about, if there's any questions or how I can, pardon me? Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you guys all these resources for sure. Yeah. Yes, that's exactly right. That's what I'll show you. Perfect. Yeah, this will be a really great resource for you guys to see. Let's see here. This is the inside of my client. This is that Susie I was talking about. This is the inside of her product. You guys get a sneak peek before it's launched. Okay. Yeah, let me just go live. I forgot we have internet. This is really good. I'll go live. This is my daughter's website, and it shows everything that we spoke about today. I'll show you in live action, and then I'll show you the media kit. Right above the fold, exactly what she does, right? Instantly. It has to be there. This is where your main, let's say, lead magnet is, whether you want them to book a call with you, reach out to you, download something. It must be right at the forefront. I'll show you guys my daughter's lookbook. You'll probably be blown away. She'll probably think that she makes a bunch of doll clothing. It's women's runway. It's quite crazy. Right, here's your About Me section, of course, and all of your product line, what it is that you exactly do, how they can find. This is all Grunt testable. Your story, and then a bit more content here, and this is her fashion line. Now, I'm going to pull up her media kit. I'll show you more here. Yeah, my 11-year-old created these clothing, which is rather crazy. But again, if your website doesn't have your value-based proposition as well, you need to have that there. This is our India giveaway that we do. All right. A media kit. This is where it's a snapshot where you should be able to, it should be on your website like this as a digital form and as a download. So you can send the link. This is what most speakers especially miss, is that if your media kit is on your website as a page, you send the link, then they're automatically connected to all of your content. Some will just send a document or PDF, having the media kit present and right there. So this is what your media kit will look like. This is what it covers. It's a similar snapshot to your website, but it tells the customer that you're going for, the client you're going for, exactly what you've got. Here's her social stats, right? Who and what she is, what she's about, some of the big collaborations that she's most recently done. Right? This is her product, so it would be your products, right? Exactly what it is that you provide them, and your mission statement of your company. So now, especially if you're a speaker, right, having what your speaker topics are, what you will cover, the value you can provide, and some of the programs you're associated with. These media kits here, and she's also an author. Just being able to send this alone, they get an instant snapshot. Instead of asking them to look for your website, it allows them to see exactly what it is that you do very quickly. Our family, Unstoppable Family, because we're social media, we have our own branding agency, we do film production, we have an Unstoppable Family media kit. This says, this is our family, we've got 500,000 in social, let us help you build a brand, build a video, let us speak for you. So it just represents exactly who we are and what we do. Especially for you, how is your main marketing then for your workshops? It's through Facebook, yeah. 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 Yeah, because it's the most connected. So now if you are looking for alliance partnerships, in order to get these type of high-level alliance partnerships, having something like a media kit for what you do, nice to meet you, this is what we do, Whole Foods, here we are, instead of sending them to a website. They get lost because then we're asking people to figure it out when I don't want them to figure it out. I want them to say, I'm a speaker, this is what I do, this is what I can provide, and this is what, these guys reached out to me, but I immediately said, here's my talk, this is how I can do it, this is what I can provide, and they're like, yeah, done, right? That's how we got asked to go to Vegas, all expenses trip, because I sent my daughter's media kit, mine, our talks, and exactly what we do. Yeah, both. The media kit should have your topics, and then taking it to another step, we're actually in development of a new page that just hosts your talk video. So like on her media kit and mine, it says learn more about the talks that we have, like these are her topics, and then it'll go to a page with just your video that says hire me to speak or reach out to me now. So an instant call to action. Well, the talks are typically 90 minutes long, but they'll either watch it or they won't, right? Yeah, they'll watch it or they won't, but that's fine. They get a really quick idea of what you do. Yeah. Anyone else want to see something more website visual stuff, logo design? Yeah, yeah, the look, awesome. Yeah, great. Again, I want to keep you entertained enough to stick around. Always want to make sure you guys are getting a lot of value. Everyone's leaving his head. Well, it's all right. You can get a cocktail if you need, honey. There we go. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that, and I'll roll through these because these are really important. And a lot of times we overlook color, especially in sales pages. Right. The look of color matters in calls to action. The way our text is, the way it's connected, it all links back to that psychology, personality as well, and how your personality lies. Blue's very corporate, right? Whereas the reds, the yellows, the lights become a bit more high-level personality. Light blue creates more of a connection. Blue, dark blue, navy has that trust, and I'll show you some brands that utilize color. Yeah, I'll show you. Yeah, it's good. All right, so people buy based on color. This is newspapers have known it for a very long time. They started putting red squares around ads, right? Different ways to highlight things, especially in social media now. Color matters. Storefronts, etc. increases their brand recognition. This is why having your color chart, your style guide, vital. You got to keep them connected to the look and feel, or you just look like everyone else. There's a lot of guys that do what you do, many that do what I do, but no one's like me. Very standout. Powerful stuff though when it comes to subconscious judgments about what they choose. We don't get a lot of time, right? Video, we get about 9 seconds. Visual effects, we get about 90 seconds from our initial viewing. And they choose based on color alone many times, especially shoppers. They don't come back if it doesn't look good. Especially on your website, you only have one time for a first impression. Okay, so let's go through some colors. This is just a bit of psychology. It increases. My book is color. Many authors don't put color in their book. It really does help, matters. It's expensive, but it does matter. Okay, let's go through some of the primary colors when it comes to what our brands are actually saying. Blue is on the emotional side. Water, peace, right? Curbs appetite. A lot of brands will use it. If they are a weight loss brand, you'll use blue. Of course, offices, it's a productivity brand, a color. But when it comes to marketing, corporate, right, because it's very clean, it's not offensive, it doesn't scream at you, creates security. Now, when we look at the type of course, I add this in because we're in Bali and everyone wants to know where the chakra's at. Everything's connected to us in our chakra, right? It's our communication color. That's why I'm wearing it today. I'm wearing my blue. So I always say, put your power suit on when you're going, right? That's why, because that's our communication piece. And it's, of course, expression. Okay, these are some brands you'll recognize that utilize blue. Right, makes sense. Twitter's communication, Skype communication, trusting, Ford, safety, right, makes sense. Green. Here's our personality of green. Tranquility, right? We use a lot of natural herbal. Money, yes, but more so on the natural effect. We use green in our brands. I didn't know this. Took some research to learn this though. That it's used in night vision goggles because the human eye is sensitive and it actually can't discern the most shades. So it's utilized heavily in night goggles to be able to view and see. New growth. They use it in stores for relaxation, fertility. My mom's wedding dress was green. Anyone have a mom that had my mom's wedding dress was mint green? Didn't know that until I actually started getting into branding and the understanding of color. It was part of fertility. Again, it's the heart and body chakra. Love is very connected. Green's a very connected color. Big brands that use green, including, that looks blue, but it's actually green. Your favorite Whole Foods for a reason. Orange. Orange in marketing is our favorite. It's our button color. It's what makes people actually do things. It's a caution color. It shows connection and warmth. It's a good personality color. For a lot of coaches use orange. Speakers, sometimes a lot more vibrant color. Depends on your audience. It's got aggression connected to it, impulse. This is our buy button. This is what we use on sales funnels and our click-through buy button. Click-throughs increase rapidly when you utilize colors that are action colors. It's not green, it's actually orange. That's the click-through. Your click-through rate will increase if you just change your button color. There you go. We're at our sacral chakra. There's some orange brands that use the color orange. I don't know why Hooters. I don't get it really. Action. That's what it is. It's the action brand. Take action now, right? Okay, here's our purple color. Right, wealth, royalty. And in marketing, a lot of anti-aging products, cosmetics use purple. Imagination, soothing and calming. Purple is a really powerful color when it comes to if you are, like, for instance, you're on the connection side, the subconscious side. It's because it's such a trusting, well-known color from royalty, and it just creates a lot of representation of not only wealth but trust. And it's the crown chakra, so it speaks from our mind and our hearts. Here's some brands that are represented with purple. Red, love, passion, right? The normal things that we would assume from red. It increases heart rate. We know that if we add red to a wall in a room, people's heart rate increases. It's an impulse color. Clearance, right? We don't necessarily always want to be connected with clearance, but that's what the color represents. We're at our root chakra. And here's some big brands that are representative to the color red. Yellow makes your babies cry, reduces some strain, stimulates your nervous system. We use a lot of yellows used in acupuncture. The walls are yellow in acupuncture, and they do the guys here that do a lot of cupping. They use yellow on their walls. It creates clarity, optimism, right? It just brings out. It's not green. It's actually yellow is used quite strongly. Personal power, right? It's taking control. Makes a lot of sense. Especially yellow is a really powerful color. It's not used nearly as much, and those that do use yellow really represent strong connection to, self-will, personal power, and strength. There's some big brands that are utilize yellow. Yeah, so our personal brands, how they actually perceive us and how they connect to our values. That's really where it all comes down to, right? That helpful? We'll give you a little bit of insights. Yeah? Yeah, anything else that you guys want to cover? I mean, obviously I can talk on this for 13 years. I've done that. But I think the most important takeaway is really understanding the image, the message, and the strategy behind how you deliver your brand, and starting with the values first. We don't start with our values, we miss and we start marketing, right? We don't create the legacy that we want. So I really appreciate your time and your attention. I'm going to be here. I'm going to give you some an area that you guys can find me and reach me. I'll stick around for a little while. My husband and I will stick around. There's the funny logos. We've got some really good ones there. And we've got some. I'll give you guys a spot. If anyone's really needs or needs some help with automation and sales funnels, that's really what we do the best. Brand just looks so different when it's got automation and sales funnel connected to it. This is how you can find me. I play a lot on Facebook. That's really where my most connected piece is. Of course, we have a YouTube channel, Unstoppable Family, but Rhonda Swan is where you'll find my work. I'm also an author, the best-selling author of the book, Skills Are Cheap, Passion is Priceless. I brought a few of them to share if you'd like to take that. It talks about our story, but more importantly, I go through how to turn your brand into a profit-making machine using automation, using the things that we talked about today, and how you can apply it. And I brought 2 Freedompreneur shirts because we are Freedompreneurs. We've been traveling for 10 years, like I mentioned. So I want to do a little giveaway. For one lady and one gentleman, or one or the other, it doesn't matter. The colors are the colors, but the sizes are different. This is the Freedompreneur shirt. We believe that freedompreneurs get to choose. They break the status quo. We do things differently, right? We earn free, we live free, and we create not only lives that are contributors to the world, but sexy brands that are contributors to the world as well. Because I truly believe a sexy brand is what will take us to the very next level. And I'll leave you with this because I'm going to do a contest in a minute. You're going to create, if you're going to create a brand, create a sexy brand. If you're going to be anything, be unstoppable. Because we are the Unstoppable family.